Good evening. It's a Sunday. It's not a Friday. Brilliant. It's 7 o'clock. My name's Danny. It says it right down at the bottom of the screen. And as always, this is Easy 8 Online Painting Club coming at you live so that we can get some of your models painted. I'm so sorry that I wasn't around last Friday. That's just, yeah, I started a job, my old job, and it's been 13 months waiting for it to start again. I knew it was coming up. And it sprung on me last minute, and then when I got there, they were like, hey, you probably need to go do a first aid course. And I was sent away for 3 days, and that was over a Friday. There was no way around it, and I had to do it, and it was just nice to be at work. And I went down to the South Devon coast, and it was glorious sunshine down there. Yeah, and I've only just basically been back for the since last night. I was very, very tired, and today I'll get out for a surf. Yes, I am slightly tanned. I do tan, for those people that do and don't know me. We've got people coming in on the comments. Luke Gallier, heyo, and Jeanette Dean, evening. Nice to see you guys. I honestly didn't know if we were going to get many or any people coming along to watch live today. So thanks for coming along and being a part of it. For those of you that are new, Easy 8 is not a tutorial. It is literally just a chill out place for you to come along, find a little bit of time of every week, hopefully, anyway, and come along and just paint your models with a little bit of company. Maybe you'll find motivation, maybe you'll find inspiration. I genuinely hope that you do. If you like what we do, perhaps consider looking at one of these other platforms that we're on here. We got YouTube, obviously, we got Facebook, and we've got Instagram. I was trying to get my hand in the right place, but I can't do it. Yeah, sure. So you can like and follow our stuff on Instagram and Facebook, but also on YouTube. Don't forget that if you like what we do, you can always subscribe, and that really helps us out. So yeah, cool. Consider that. I spoke to Kyle just a couple of hours ago on the phone. First time I spoke to him all week. I've been really busy, obviously. First week back to work, quite tired. First time I've done anything in like 13 months, really, apart from social distancing. Yeah, and he said, like, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, he's got a really hard job to do, and it's a Sunday. He's got a lot of work for tomorrow, so he's not going to be able to make it. But Kyle, if you are watching, hope you're doing well. Hope you have a good evening. Maybe painting some stuff on the sly. Who knows? Yeah. That's that really. So I just thought I'd make sure that we were making a presence weekly wherever possible. Like I said before, I will always try to make sure that this show runs weekly. Just this time I had to kind of move it. There was a little bit of confusion, I think. Some people were kind of contacting me saying, you said you were going to be on Saturday. I'm really sorry if I confused you. I meant that I would return home on Saturday and then do the show on Sunday. So yeah, sorry if that messed your plans up. Sorry if I wasn't very clear. I know that when I do like little videos and whatever, I ramble on. Maybe that's why I can do this show for 2 hours solid on my own. Yeah, whatever. Hey, we're here. You're here. Maybe you're not. I don't know. We're all happy. Let's get some models painted. Adrian Dean has joined us. Evening all. Hi, Adrian. Thanks very much for coming along. It's a Sunday. Yeah, we don't normally do it on a Sunday. It's beautiful outside. So what you guys are doing indoors, I don't know. So yeah, the weather is improving. It's lovely. I got a new mug. Thanks very much. Cheers. Yeah, that is a tasty cup of tea. Been out for a surf today. It was great. It was very, very cold. So the sun is very, very warm, but the ocean at the moment is 7 degrees, and I got hypothermia. That was lovely. But I'm fighting fit. I've warmed up over the last few hours. My sensor's back with me. I dropped my brand new surfboard. A bit cross about that, but it is repairable very easily. Thank goodness. But that's enough about my little Sunday. How was your Sundays? Let us know. If you're watching live now, you can just obviously drop us a line in the comments, get involved and have a chat with everybody else, share some tips, maybe motivate each other, or just kind of have a general chit chat. This club is here for you. So yeah, I'd like to know what you're painting this evening. If you are painting anything at all, perhaps like some people, you just kind of come along and just watch or generally join in the chit chat. But I'd love to know what you're doing, what you're getting on with, up to. Because Kyle isn't here, I haven't done a pre-setup thing that I normally do, and I can bounce feedback from him about the show and how it's going to start. So if the music levels, volume levels, or whatever, my volume isn't low, too low, they're interfering with each other, let me know, and I'll reduce or raise whichever needs to happen. So yeah, let us know. Cool. If you know our Facebook, it says it right there, the little address for the Facebook, you should head on over there, because on the community tab, I am stammering today. Clearly that water was very cold. Sorry. yeah, head on over to the community tab and you can see all of the really cool pictures that people have been putting up over the last few days. People have been really active with their painting. I've done nothing because I've been busy, and I've been really looking forward to just getting some paint out and having a go. Work's not stressful at the moment. It's just that this show has been really good for people. Me and Kyle alike have said it. That it's just nice to know that no matter what you're doing, it's always nice to have 2 hours just carved out just to get your geek on, just to kind of do something for you. Like for me, I get this little room, this little studio, and I get to be away from everything going on around in the world and in the house and stuff, and I just kind of get to come here and do this. So yeah, that's what I really like about this show. More comments going in. Kesslin, hi Kesslin, nice to see you again. Haven't seen you for a while. Not painting this evening, but working on painting my computer case. Cool, painted computer case. Doesn't matter, doesn't have to be models. Hobby painting is what I call it. So, well, put a picture up, show us, get something different up there. That'd be great. Excuse me. And Lucas said currently making some Sisters of Battle and people painting second half. People painting. People painting. What do you mean by people painting? Do elaborate, please. Thank you very much. Nice to see that everyone's. Well, I just looked at the view count. It's like a normal Friday. Thanks for coming along, everybody. Cheers. Great. Cool. Well, without Kyle here, I might as well just take you straight over to the workbench. So, here we go. Cool. Here is my 135th Panther that I've been working on. I really wanted to get some stuff done during the week, but I've just, honestly, I've not had that time. Oh, look what I didn't do. I didn't remove the Kyle bit in the top corner. Sorry, Kyle. Let's let's get rid of that, shall we? Bye, Kyle. It's gone. Yep, I was in a rush. Okay, cool. So yeah, my 135th Panther. The last time I did anything to it, of course, you might remember that I was using this product that I've been shaking vigorously since I came on air. This is the enamel wash. This is what I use for pin lining, pin shading, or whatever you want to call it. The various details on here. If you look at the whole image here that you see, obviously I've got the top of the hull and I've got the turret. You can see that the features on the top of the turret are much more defined than, say, like, I don't know, these hatches here on top of the hull. That is because there has been a very small amount of this enamel wash that has just been kind of dropped into the recesses and around some details, etc., and it just really enhances it. It does take a long time to do. It's really worth doing though, because like you say, because those features really pop from the background. And if you have never used an enamel before, some people were getting in contact with me during the week about pin washing. Yeah, there are different colors that you should use for certain colors that you have already painted, like so your canvas here, for example, your canvas being the tank, your colors should reflect it. That's not a rule. You can use whatever color you want. You can use bright pink on a white background, or a blue background, or a yellow background. You can do whatever you want, but I'm trying to keep this fairly realistic, so I'm using a German vehicle dark yellow wash. This it just says dark yellow, which dark yellow is, if you remember episodes and episodes ago, is actually a brown, which is, I suppose, what this is. I'm shaking it because it has separated a little bit in there. So there's a lot of dense particle or pigment in this, and it really needs to be agitated, and it's worth agitating it very frequently throughout whatever work it is that you're doing. More comments going in. Adrian Dean has said, starting work on a tech priest, first model of the week. Nice, cool. Luke's put probably. Oh, probably painting second half. Yeah, autocorrect. Sorry, man. Currently making some Sisters of Battle. I'm probably painting second half. People painting. I think it's great. Maybe we should make that a subject to talk about. That'd be fantastic. But there are so many people. They are still so many people, so that works. Yeah, of course. Jeff Lacey's put, oi, bit late. Been sat in the beer garden all afternoon. Yeah, that sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Obviously, when I went away for those couple of days, I did go down to the Supermarché, picked up a couple of beers, sat outside down by the South Riviera coast, and it was beautiful sun, but my gosh was it cold in the evenings. So the second night, indoors with my new boss. Hi Matt. Matt did say that he was going to maybe come along and watch. If you're watching, Matt, yo, nice to see you. Cheers. Anyway, cool. Yeah. So my old job, did I get the job that I wanted? I'm not allowed to tell you. So whether I did get it or not, unfortunately I can't say. So watch this space to find out whether I did or didn't. Can't tell you why either. deal with it. So, I've been shaking this vigorously for some time, but this is an enamel painting. There's not an acrylic paint, so we can't just use standard water. It's always worth having a little bit of water on the side to wash spirits out of your brush. But I have some white spirits from AK Interactive. I like to get the stuff from hobby stores. It is more expensive. This is 3 or 4 quid, maybe a bit more. And you can buy it obviously from hardware stores in larger bottles, but it stinks. So yeah, this stuff is odorless or limited odor white spirit. Yeah, if you can find from the hardware store odorless white spirit, get it. You still should ventilate the area. This is a ventilated room, so that's all right. But otherwise, it just makes it it just makes it an obnoxious environment. Yeah, consider that. So I like to have a little brush to use a little bit of white spirits to cover the surface that I'm going to be painting as a bit of a prep. I have a little pipette with terps written on it. Terps is actually different from white spirit, but in my head, same thing. Who cares? And that just allows me to transfer without pouring, potentially spilling. And I've got another one for dirty terps, which I use so I don't have to dirty this pipette, so that I can transfer it to something else, like a container, to get rid of it. I think I am a little probably over the top when it comes to certain things. I mean, I don't like to use the term, oh, my OCD, because I don't have OCD. It's a terrible affliction, and I don't like using that phrase when clearly I don't have that. But there are some things that I do get probably a little bit over fastidious about. So yeah, I use pipettes for everything because they're really cheap and you can get bundles and bundles of them. I recommend it if you're playing around with spirits and things like that. It's really good for like doing thinners and spirits and cleaners for your airbrush, and it makes applications so much easier and quicker. And of course, because they have a little measuring thing down the side, you can measure how much you're putting in there. So here is my dark yellow wash. What I'm going to do is give it a quick shake before I open it again, just a gentle one there. And what that does is it brings a little bit of it into the lid here. And that's quite rich in pigment, and it's more than enough what I need to work with right now. So yeah, that's what I'm going to use. I am going to put, I was going to say, a little bit of white spirit on my brush, but I've just saturated that brush with white spirit. Always worth having a piece of kitchen towel nearby. I'll just absorb a little bit of it there. Okay, so last time I did this, I enamelled the top of this turret and I enamelled the back of it. So I suppose I should probably enamel the sides, and then I'll do the front with the mantlet, and then the cannon as well. And then that will be this piece done. I also should probably do the cupola here. I'm calling it a cupola because I've been told that cupola, though we might think is the right word, actually isn't. And I think people who have worked in tanks get quite annoyed about that. Sorry, tank people. So cupola, it has got like a patina or a pattern effect of the rolled steel in a certain pattern, and I might want to enhance that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put probably a bit more white spirit than that. It's been a little while. Bit of white spirit on the surface that I'm going to apply. That is loads. That I'm going to be using the enamel wash on. What this does is, because it is an enamel product, it requires spirits to manipulate and clean it. It basically draws the paint or the pigment into where it is sat. It evaporates very quickly. You might have to do this little pre-wipe, if you like, a couple of times if you're doing larger spaces. But what it does is it sits in the recesses a little bit longer before it evaporates than it does on a flat surface. And that's going to draw the pigment of the paint into those little areas. I don't know why I've really done this whole area here. It's completely flat. I'm not really thinking. But the areas I do want it into are these little, you can see them on the camera here, these little patches here. What they are is tongue and groove slots. When they built the armour for this this turret, they slot together, and on the edges of them is where they were basically they were cut with an oxyacetylene torch or something of that kind of nature, and it's very, very rough. They didn't bother neating them up. There's absolutely no point because it's it's a tank. So what I'm going to try and do is get a little bit of the colour in there. So where is my little brush? I was using this tiny little sable brush here. I don't normally like using tiny little brushes for details because they haven't got a large belly. of bristles to carry a lot of paint in, but I'm working with such small amounts, this is perfect for it. So, because I've been faffing, I have run out of white spirit here. Let's put a bit more into there. Gonna a slight drop. Here we go. The music has stopped. So, very tense there. So normally with a pin wash, I would just be very careful, and I would just kind of dab the tip of my brush into the areas that I want it to kind of go into and let it run. But this whole section, this whole piece is essentially just kind of lots of grooves. So I'm just going to work my way over it, and I'm going to try and neaten it up with a little bit of white spirit in a minute. I might even try using one of my rubber brushes, because it's just a solid line. I might just be able to draw it across, and it might remove the colour from the top, those raised sections, and leave it sitting in the recesses of the detail, if that makes sense. I don't know, that's just an idea that just came into my head then. And there. It's not the neatest job, but because this is a spirit-based paint, you clean it with spirits. You can clean it weeks after you've applied it, months, years, because it just reanimates it straight away. It's one of the advantages of working with spirit paints, enamel paints over acrylics. Acrylics dry very quickly, vibrant colours, but yeah, you can always go back to working with oils or enamels, etc. Cool. That's quite nice, that. It's a bit stark, so I might later on use a very, very slightly dipped in spirits brush later on and just give it a quick once over just to dull it down a little bit. Even this little bit over here is a little bit stark. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. We'll see what happens. What I do need to do is put a bit more spirit in here. So there's still a little bit of spirit hanging around in the bristles of this brush, and that is enough. You don't want to saturate the area, because what it's going to do is it's just going to clean whatever you're trying to put in there. It's just going to try and remove it, and it will just push it away to the edges, and it's not really what you want. You want it just to aid the capillary action of the paint. It wants to draw away to the areas where it can hide. I am rambling, but it makes sense. You know it does. This week, I haven't really got the shakes. Maybe I'll get the shakes a bit later on. Last week, I was really struggling, wasn't I? Trying to do the back hatch here. My hands were just like, Okay, a bit more spirit. There we go. Sometimes it's quite hard to see where the spirit goes. You have to kind of like get the light to reflect on it. There are people out there on YouTube that you can watch who demonstrate this technique much better than I. I watch them doing it. I'm like, well, when you're doing it, it's so much better than mine. And it's such a simple thing. Like, what could I possibly be doing different? But I suppose experience over years and years probably makes it so much easier. I don't know. It's actually faded quite a bit down here. Like I thought it was going to be too dark. I might actually have to go back over that in a minute. Huh. Well, who knew? Just to make that little extra detail just stand out a little bit, and probably with all the weathering and everything on there, a lot of that effect might be hidden by the end of it, but it might show through, it might add to it, because there's going to be a lot of grease and grime and dirt and watermarks from rain that are all going to go on this later, much later. Yeah, so there's that little bit there. Cool. Okay, other side. Let's move over. A bit more spirit, just on the end of the brush. Here we go. My face is tingling from the sun. It was so cold, man. Right, okay, cool, here we go. Ah, spirit has dried already. Let's put a bit more in there. Let's see what happens. Maybe I'm just going in a bit too light with that spirit. There we go. Okay. This little section is actually much smoother than the other sides in the terms of its pattern, so it's actually quite hard to force an effect out of it. Just cramming that in there, really, knowing it will dry a little bit differently, and I can always tidy it up a bit later on with a bit more spirit. Okay. Put quite a bit of spirit in there. I've been using spirits over thinners. They weren't doing the same thing. All the tutorials that I looked at before I started using these sorts of paints say, yeah, put a bit of thinner down, like odorless thinner, and then clean everything up with white spirit. But it wasn't doing the same thing. So yeah, I seem to be using white spirits at the moment because it just seems to be working for me. Maybe there are painters out there going like, no, you should definitely use thinner. But nope, wasn't working. Right. Excuse me. Oh, that's really running there. That's really good. So the perfect amount of spirit in here. How many times am I going to say the word spirit this evening? Beautiful. I'll let that dry for a few minutes perhaps. Come back to it in a minute. So now I've got to work out what exactly on the mantlet that I want to have this stain. So we've got a little machine gun port here. This is where like a little coaxial machine gun would stick out, and I believe this is a gunner's sight just here. So I probably could put a little bit around there and a little bit on the inside of this little recessed circle. That'll make it stand out a bit more. I could put a line running all the way down this crease. This chin that sticks out the bottom of the mantlet, it is kind of like, you see, it's almost semicircular in its cross section, and then has this little bit that sticks down the bottom. The reason for that is because when it was first originally built, the Panther, it did just semicircle, but what would happen is incoming rounds would come in and it would trap them. It would kind of guide the shot in, and it would go into the turret ring and disable it, and just render your tank useless, or just blow it up, which is bad. Having this little chin on it actually made it much more survivable. So yeah, this is a later war Panther thing. It's actually one of the things that makes it stand out as a variant G, or even a variant A. A is not the first variant. D was the first variant. It goes DAG. For some reason, just on the Panther. Just put in there. Are you going to camo color it? I am going to camo color it. I've got German camouflage colors here. I was thinking about the process, the order in which I was going to do all my pin washing. I forgot the word there. Should I do it before I do the camouflage colors? Should I do it afterwards? I might just be prolonging my agony, but I think I might be not going into the camouflage bit yet, because I'm really nervous to ruin everything I've done so far, because I've not done the proper camouflage lines before, with an airbrush or without, so I'm quite nervous about it. But actually, I think I want to get the most of this colour down, because you use different colours of washes for different colours of camouflage. What I want to do is I want to get all of this colour down, and then when I go over the camouflage colours, I'll just reapply it. I will use this colour for the red colour, I think, probably, and I'm going to use my dark brown for green vehicles over the green parts of the camouflage, because there's basically two colours. It's dark red, or rusty red, and an olive green. So yeah, I'm just basically going to go back over the bit. So I am probably going to cover over a good amount of this work with camouflage, but this is my first 135th. This is the first detailed thing I've really ever done, so I'm playing with it. I'm experimenting. I might be doing it in completely the wrong way to what people know they're talking about do, Whatever, man. Have fun. Go for it. I'm probably going the long way unnecessarily. Yum. That's a good cup of tea. Right. Shaking regularly, remember, because I want to get all that pigment out. There we are. Nice and rich in there again. There's a big lump actually, which I could probably manipulate with my brush and break it down and get more rich pigments. But I want to get some spirits. Spirits. Oop. There we are. I want to run a line. Getting shot, Danny. I want to run a line down the crease in that mantlet, because that's where I'm going first. I've actually poured that in, or put that in quite heavy, because it was evaporating a minute ago and I don't really want it to. So all the way along, under that curvy bit where the cannon joins in, and now a nice rich bit of this. I could perhaps probably use a slightly bigger bellied brush for this to hold more pigment in. I might move on to that once I get a bit more comfortable with what I'm doing. I'll bring a light in a bit closer because it's a bit dark there with my hand in the way. Okay, so just dropping it in. See, the problem with using a small brush is I have to keep going back to the paint. I hope you can see that effect really standing out. Needs a bit of tidying up, but spirits is really easy to tidy, remember. If you are into all the sort of really cool fantasy sci-fi stuff like 40k, this product has really taken off lately to kind of get that really grim appeal or that really realistic appeal. It's not just specific to historical stuff, you can use it in whatever you want. I even use the grime effects to make weathered metal. So on the exhausts of this thing, I'll just cover it in the rusty grime, and it makes it look like it's been degraded by heat and dirt. It's quite an effective colour. Oh, went a bit crazy there, but I'll be able to go and tidy that up in just a second. So yeah, just dabbing, dab, 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 and it basically just agitates the pigment in the brush, and it just kind of runs out the spirit. There it is again. The spirit that's in that's already on the model just kind of draws it out and makes it sit where you want it to. And I'm just going to put a little bit of terps. I've got to stop saying spirit. Just in here, in the machine gun port. Get a fresh bit of washout and just drop it in. Such a tiny effect. So worth it. There we are. And again now, just a little bit of my spirit here on the gunner sight. Cool. You can see that it needs a little bit of neatening, a little bit of tidying up. You can see where I kind of plopped it and kind of left bobbles. I'll just run a spirit loaded brush over that and it'll just neaten up those edges. Super nice, super tidy. A couple of little patches up here that probably could do with going back over again. What else if I just run my brush in here? That is very lazy painting of me. Cool. So yeah, most of the turret is done. It is such a tiny effect. It might not seem worth it. I think it really is. Give it a go. See what you think. Right, so I've now got to look at where I'm going to use this wash on the cannon. There's really no point in doing anything all the way along the length of the cannon itself here. So I'm probably going to just put a little bit in here where the cannon goes into the mantlet, and then probably here at the muzzle. There's a couple of details up here that it might benefit from having it, and of course this part here is potentially a really big focal point, visual point, because it's the business end, isn't it really? This is where all the danger comes out of. So by kind of making it pop a little bit, it draws your attention to it. Yeah, and that's what my painting style is all about, because I don't paint super realistic. Of course, super realistic, it would just be one colour, and of course my base colour is made of 6. But I would just paint it Dunkelgelb, which is obviously, I say obviously, but you might not know, but German for dark yellow. It is the stock camouflage colour for late war German stuff. So again, just a little drop, just around the edge. I'm being very steady there. Make sure I'm in shot. I am. Cool, lovely. There we are. That needs a lot of neatening up, but that's fine. Do have a little detail on the top that I just noticed that I could probably benefit from just running spirits all the way through here. I'm running out of spirits in the brush, so I could be quite aggressive with that application, but go back in with a bit more, be a bit more gentle now. So I just kind of want to run a little bit, I think, along here. I'm not entirely sure what this effort is on the top here. I think it's like a dust cover to stop dust and grime kind of getting in underneath the mantlet and seizing up the operation of the elevation of the cannon, I think. I'd like to be called a tank expert, but I'm not a tank expert. Who knows? Henk will know. They were the people that manufactured the Panther tank. That is a very poor job I'm doing in there. But again, it doesn't matter so much because I can just go in and neaten up again afterwards. Spirit and enamel-based paints are really quite forgiving. Of course, you should try to keep your mistakes to a minimum. Oh, that's terrible. Like I said, it's not a tutorial. Don't do as I do. I think I'm running out of paint in the lid there. It's a good time to reach the end. I'll just neaten that up in a second. Okay. So I'm looking at it here. I don't know if you can see certain parts of that, but it looks much more defined. These little features here of the tongue and groove sections of the raw edges of the torch cutaways looking much more obvious, and they stand out much more. Where I've cleaned up, there's a lot of sort of leftover residue, if you like, where I haven't done a very good job cleaning it up, and it, despite using spirits to clean it, it still has kind of remained in some places. It doesn't matter, it's not going to be a clean looking model. The idea of it is that, well, I don't necessarily worry about trying to clean it up too much, because when I put the grime and the rust and all the weathering effects on the top, it's going to add to it, it's going to blend in, it's going to disappear, and it's not really going to be a big issue. If I was doing this pin washing on a clean model, I'd try to be much more precise in the application of it. I would probably practice a lot before I went straight into it, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, that's that. Another comment gone in. When and why did they go to the yellow from the grey? Good question. I can't remember the exact date that they did it, but I think it was something to do with the Africa Corps, when right at the beginning of the Second World War, in 1939 they were all Panzer grey. Generally, it was the colour of the vehicles in the Wehrmacht at the time. I quite like it. I think it's quite a good colour. It makes them look particularly old, and I associate that with historical warfare. But then they went to Africa, North Africa, and they started producing this colour, and it stuck. When they came out, they were fighting in Normandy, and it was a colour that they just basically, rather than just staying in the sort of Dunkelgelb colours, they just started applying camouflages over the top, and that's when there's an immense amount of different styles, and most times, especially in the later parts of the war, when they just kind of wanted to keep the German army moving, rather than delaying the manufacture of the tank for a particular length of time and painting it, they would send it out unpainted or just primed, so it would be just a primed red colour, and the crews or the tank companies would be responsible for painting them. So there was a lot of differences in the way that they appeared. Camouflages were often just done by crews, especially when they were in northern France in the winters in the Battle of the Bulge, when they started doing things like whitewashing. So yeah, good question. Don't know the exact date that they went from Panzer Grey to dark yellow. I think you still would have seen the occasional Panzer Grey vehicle in later war things. It just depends on how long that vehicle came through, the circumstances that they got there. Would you have bothered? Would you have had access to it? Who knows? That is a tasty cup of tea. Right. So I need a bit more paint on the end in this pot here, I think. I might need to get like a stirry stick in there, like one of these skewers, and just kind of give it a stir in there, kind of mix up whatever's sitting at the bottom. Because I think that is a lot of the problems that I have with this, is that it's there's not enough pigment in the fluid that kind of comes out, as where I've been using the dark brown for green vehicles like the American stuff and the British stuff. It's a beautiful wash, and it's so quick, it does wonders. Right, a good mix. Lovely. Right, to the side. A bit of spirit on the muzzle. Oh, that worked perfectly. If only you could see how well that worked as close as I can. But that is probably the neatest pin washing with enamels that I have ever done. A perfect demonstration. Stunning. Look at me developing live on telly. Yeah, love it. Some people say to me when I'm not live, going, "Why do you call it a telly show?" Because I'm old. And I think it sounds better. Look, alright, I'm live, it's my show, I'll call it telly if I want to be on telly. Probably get a bit more spirit in there, because it seems to work a bit better with a bit more. My previous experience was that it wasn't working as well with too much spirit. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe that was me not doing it right at the time, or perhaps I was using the actual thinner. This is a bit more of an awkward detail here, because here, spit your words out, because this here this particular line is a really deep recess, and it's very accurate. This is the angle of which this is going to sit in is much wider, so it kind of wants to run away a bit more. It's going to require a bit more cleaning up. Can't really see it so well there, but you can see that, yeah, it's more of a ledge than it is a recess. I just kind of want to bring a little bit of attention to it, just by running a little bit of wash around it. There we go. That requires a lot of cleanup, and that's what I'm going to be doing in just a second. So, yeah, this is not going to require any clear up, this first little bit here. Very, very hard to see on the screen. There we are. You can see it perfectly there. So So yeah, there's some areas that need cleaning. But hey, I like cleaning. Right, let's leave that enamel over there. Come back to my white spirit in my little pie tray. Give my brush a little bit of a clean out. I've decided to start using the same pot for cleaning and for it because I use such a large quantity of spirit compared to how much I'm cleaning off. I don't think it really matters. It actually separates in there and I'm able to draw out cleaner parts of spirit. Maybe I'll change my mind later on using dirty spirit to apply to my model. I'm being lazy. So I need to come back to the original places that I started off over here. There's a couple of little splodges. You can barely see there's a little dot here. It stands out quite noticeably to my eye being in front of the model. So I'm just going to put a little bit of spirit there and just agitate it until it goes away. A little bit around the edges there. Trying very, very carefully to not let the spirit, this is where I do want to be a bit more precise, don't want to get the spirit into that enamel because it'll just clear it and that would just undo everything I've just spent that time doing. And just to be a bit more forceful, perhaps I'll get one of my rubber brushes if I know where they are. I don't know where they are. It was an idea I thought of before I came, after I came online, so I haven't got them prepared beside me here. Do I have them? Rubber brushes, the sculpting brushes, and they're really, really good. I don't have them here. Maybe I'll find them a bit later on. And they might just be, they're quite soft, but because they're not bristles, they're a solid lump, they might actually have the force to kind of move away more stubborn stains, if that kind of makes sense. I don't know if it does without showing you, but yeah, in my head it works. It's worth trying anyway. I've just let that spirit pour epically into that area that I didn't want it to, but it hasn't done much, so yeah, okay, I'm just going to leave that alone. Alright, now I've got a little bit down the back side of this, what possibly is a dust protector thing, I don't know. It needs quite a bit of cleaning, so I'll move the hull away because I'm interfering now. Right, quite a bit of spirit on my brush here. This brush is very soft, so it might not have the guts to do it. Okay, let's move to this one. This is my flat one that I was using to apply the spirit with. Try to be very, very careful not to go too crazy. There we are, that's a little bit neater. Just on the top side here. This flat brush from Citadel is really good, especially for it being a synthetic brush. Synthetic brushes don't really hold their shape for very long, but this one here with that little sort of angular cutaway, really handy for this sort of application. I picked it up as a whim just to kind of give it a go, not really knowing what I was going to use it for. It took me a little while to find a place for it, but yeah, it stays in one of my regular brush pots. I have brushes that I use at different times. Some get used more regularly than others, so I have several pots. In an attempt to declutter my workstation. Because sable is just a little too soft sometimes, it's good to have a synthetic brush. Now, one thing about cleaning the area of pin wash is that if you're using a brush like this, it carries a lot because there's a large belly of bristles. When you squeeze, like actually applying the enamel pin wash in the first place, it runs out. You're going to get a lot of white spirit that comes out. You can use that to your advantage, like I am here, because there's a large entrapment area for that spirit to come out. It's going to pull all the stuff that you're cleaning into one area, and it actually is intensifying that crease. But you should be careful about that, where it's going to potentially run away over the rest of your model. Be careful about how much spirit is in your brush when you're trying to wash it up. That's much better. It's still a bit grimy in there, but actually it's much better than it was. And I don't mind the grime because it's going to help the weathering effect later. now onto the front of the mantlet here. It's not too bad, it just needs a bit of edging. Bit trickier because the recess is really shallow. It'll be very easy for me to remove all of it in one silly brush stroke. So I'm just trying to be very, very careful using that very neat edge of this brush to run right alongside that crease, and that is lovely. It's such a wonderful product, is enamel. Yeah, I've got nothing else to say about it. It's really good. that's all I'm gonna say. It's really good. Much better. It doesn't need to be lots. It doesn't need to have a massive amount of the paint in there to show you that definition, because it's providing contrast. That's the whole point of it. It provides contrast with the colours around it. Now I've pre-shaded mine, so at the bottom of this chin on this mantlet is darker than the top part of it. That's how I've painted it, but it still stands out, and the colours blend, so it doesn't stand out like a sore thumb. It's not neon. Though I would like to play with some neon at some point in the future, but this tank is taking a lot of my time, and I really just want to focus on it because I'm loving every stage of it. So why do we have hobbies? Because it's nice just to, doesn't matter if you had a good day, bad day, sometimes it's just nice to unplug, right? It's just nice to come home and do something that you can switch off and not think about things, even the good things. Perhaps you're at work and it's a really good job, like mine. I love my job. And it's not that I want to put that behind me for the day. Change the record, change the pace, do something that you're into. Maybe you're like Luke and you paint people. Sorry, pal. I know that was an autocorrect, right? This is my little mini world, you know. It's like I'm creating this tank. I just like to come in and give it some attention and just forget about whatever it is I've been doing. Switch off. It's a hobby. Same as a book, right? Escapism. Retreat into another world. I'm reading the Horus Heresy. Horus Heresy? I said that right. I didn't need to correct myself. The Horus Heresy trilogy, the opening trilogy to the Horus Heresy. I'm on False Gods. It's really good. Not going to say much about it because you might have not read it yet and you might want to have a go. But yeah. Yeah, not too happy with the way that little bit went up there. Perhaps what I'll do is I'll just tidy up a bit more, and I might go back in with a little bit more enamel and just see if I can do that little bit again there. That's just completely clean, because that's the advantage of using spirit here. Done. Let's get a little bit more of this colour back here. Get right down into the corner. Right down there, it's where all the pigment sits, and that's exactly what it does on the model. Get right down in there, just need a little dollop on the end. Not much at all. Just plop it on. Could have put a bit more spirit on there really, but yeah, whatever. I'm going to neaten it up anyway. Right, and then just let that dry. It just takes a second. So yeah, watch me drink some tea for a second. Here you go. Cool. Oh, just put another comment in. Dean, have you started your King Tiger yet? Yeah, I'd like to know, because obviously, Dean, you were I call you Dean. I thought with the colloquialism. Adrian Dean, Deanie, as some people have called him. you obviously were on the show a little while ago as our guest, and we were talking about your King Tiger 135th build, which you were inspired by the show to go and do. I'm very happy about that. Obviously, you said you couldn't get stuck into building it because you needed some more glue, because the glue that you had would have destroyed the tiny details. I'd love to know if you got that, if you started, or if you started prepping it or whatever. That'd be really cool. Let us know where you are with it. I wonder if you're going to build it quicker than I've got to do in mine here, because it's taking me so long. That is much better. A very, very tiny bit of detail painting on there that might be considered unnecessary. I think it is necessary. I've just realised there's a little bit over here that I could probably do with cleaning up a bit more. Beautiful. There. There's a couple of bits and pieces over here that I could probably do with neatening up. Been bothering me. Looking at it, coming back to it occasionally. Maybe I'll just hide it with a bit of weathering. Weathering, you can hide so much with weathering. And see, I did this a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week? It's been sat there for over 7 days. I'm still able to clean it with the spirit. Can't do that with acrylic. So it is worth playing and exploring with spirit paints. Yeah. If it has been sat there for a while, it is harder to shift, so that might help you achieve some of the effects that you're looking for, perhaps because it requires more force, more effort to clean it. Generally, I'm very happy with this. I might stick a bit more colour in the top of the cupola there, the commander's hatch, as it were. I don't know, maybe it just requires a bit more focus, a bit more detail here. Pow, pow, pow. Now, I am aware that this is a very lengthy, time-consuming process. The show is 2 hours long, and we're very rapidly coming up to an intermission halfway through. And I've done just a couple of tiny little details, but it is worth it. There's no rush. There's no reason to kind of go at it at a rate of knots and ruin the effect. You know, go for gold. Make it the best you can. Sometimes it just takes time. That's the point of a hobby. It's the point of this hobby. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But yeah, don't worry if it's taking you as long as it's taken me to do this one. It's worth it in the end. It really is. I don't think I'm going to do much with the steel rolled steel effect on this. I might leave that to some of the weathering later on. But I'm thinking about kind of, there's like a little shape here where this, I don't know, hinge comes up. This hatch would rise up and then rotate. So this is a vertical hinge, and it kind of sticks out a little bit just here on the side of the cupola. I think if I get a little bit of spirit in there to assist with capillary action, I might be able to enhance that just a little. Don't want to go too much. It's quite nice. I like it. Booyah. Because I'm street like all the cool kids. Yeah, I'm gonna say booyah. Yeah, nice. It does need a bit of tidying up, so again, just gonna wait for that to dry. And I'm happy with that as my effects on the turret for now. So this one can, I'm going to neaten that up obviously in a second, clean it up with a bit of fresh spirit. But for all intents and purposes, it's to the side now. So that is a piece that is done. Yay. The next thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to come back over with the camouflage colours, and then where those camouflage colours are, I'm going to do some more pin washing on them. Like I said earlier, that might be, I might be just making work for myself by pin washing now and then doing camouflage colours later and then pin washing separate colours over the top of them. I don't know, I'm kind of experimenting, and I'm not frightened to have a go at that, so who knows. See how long it takes. and I am aware of how long this whole process has taken me, because I've now got to do the whole of this turret, the whole of this hull. Sorry, I've got to do the whole underside, the sides, and everything. But I think here I can be a little bit more brazen with it. It's larger surfaces. I can move it around a lot more. The details are a little bit easier to pick out, and it's not an awful lot when you think about it. On the front, it's just around the mud flaps here and around some of the edges, a little bit around the machine gun port. Then there's hatches and some lines, etc. Not too hard, I don't think. What is going to be annoying is I've got 8, 16, 24, 28 sets of wheels to do all individually. I've decided that my camouflage isn't going to go over the wheels. On some tanks they did it, on others they didn't. So the camouflage would start from here up, so all the wheels will be clean. Others, they are camouflaged and the pattern kind of continues across them. In some cases, that's something that I do like, but I'm not going to do it now because, like I said, I'm learning, is that you'll have, let me find an appropriate couple of wheels. Here we go. So this, get a proper one. Here we go. This double wheel here sits behind two wheels that sit over the front of it, and they cover it over in a sort of semi-circular fashion. Does that make sense? When they paint their colours on top of it, sometimes they don't paint behind these two wheels. And what happens is, as the wheels turn, you'll have the effect that the top wheels have left, and you'll get like an hourglass colour on them, because it is a free camouflage pattern. So, and also, who cares, your tank could get shot. So, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm playing around with some colours of broken and replacement parts as my primer colours. I'm not going to do it. I am going to paint my camouflage on the side skirts that go down the sides here that protect the tops of the tracks, etc. So I am going to paint my camouflage over here, but not on this one, because this one is a broken one, a replacement one that I've painted, and I'm going to cut a couple of them out to make it look like they're also missing some as well. So yeah, the wheels, what I want to do is I want to get the all the wheels pin washed, put in position. I'm then going to put the tracks on, so that's going to happen before I probably camouflage, probably. And then I'm going to put the side skirts on, they'll be pin washed, and then I'm going to do camouflage. So camouflage is actually quite a distance away. I bought it a little while ago very quickly because I thought it was an emergency thing. I need to kind of get it in there now. Turns out, actually, the way that I've decided to approach this, I didn't need it so quickly, but I'm glad I got it because, yeah, I've got it. Darren's just joined us. Hi guys. Hi Darren, thanks for coming along. Nice to see you again. We're about to go for a break, but we'll be back in a few minutes anyway. Adrian Dina said, just wait to hit book 3. Just screw Erebus. Oh, you're talking about the Horus Heresy trilogy. Yeah, man, it's I just love the characters and the play off, and yeah, it's brilliant. Love it. It's cracking. And Adrian Dean has also said, not yet, learning has got in the way. Of course, because you did say on the show that you were a guest on that the reason you have a dedicated paint studio is because it's also a dedicated learning space, because you're putting yourself through a course. During these last 2 weeks of the Easter holiday, of course, I've been either preparing to get into a job or actually working. I've done none of my learning at all. And it's because it's been Easter holidays, we've not actually had any lessons to go to, but that starts on this Wednesday again, and I haven't done anything. But hopefully a break would have done me just as good as revising, I hope, because I'm not very good at what it is I'm doing. I'm doing maths. I'm useless at maths. I'm putting myself back through school. Here's hoping. Okay, well, I normally like to wait a little bit before we go into an interval. I like to take it right up to the hour, but we're a minute before, so I'm going to do it now anyway. So yeah, cool. Let's find my intermission screen. So if you need to have a little break and you don't want to miss anything, now's a really good time. We're going to be away for about 10 minutes. If you want to make sure that you change your water, you should definitely change your water. If you need to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom, grab yourself a fresh cup of tea, maybe a beer, because it's a Sunday evening. I think the sun has started to go down now, they're outside. Anyway, yeah, we'll be back in about 10 minutes. I'll see you very shortly. Take care. I'm back. Hopefully you are too. Great break. I've just been playing with some brushes. Things are working out very well for me. I hope your break was as good as mine is. Maybe you just went in, I don't know, stretch your legs. At this point in the show, I normally like to talk about things like community spotlight, give some people out there a little bit of attention with the work that they're doing. They get to show off their pictures, etc. I don't have anything this week because it's been a really busy week and the show's late anyway, so yeah, I didn't have anything. But I want to kind of do the same feature I've done for the last couple of weeks now for shout-outs for companies. GeForce Models. GeForce Models, yeah. Get in contact with these guys if you want to get yourself some model kits or some supplies or whatever, because I just got a lovely email from Gav at GeForce Models. Give me a 20% discount voucher for online shopping. So yeah, if you want to get yourself some new stuff, head on over to geforcemodels.com or .co.uk, beg your pardon, and have a little look and see if there's something over there that you want. I'm not saying that you're going to have a 20% discount voucher now, but you might get one emailed to you later on to buy some more stuff with. Really good online shop. Gav is just such a lovely guy and is in the hobby for the right reasons, and yeah, it's really personal touch. It's a privately run business. It's all him, just him by himself. Head on over if you want to have a look more at this website. He's got a Facebook page as well. The details are in the description to this video. Please do head on over and have a look, because it's a private business, and that's what Easy 8's all about, is just kind of giving everyone like that a little bit of attention. And I got a sweetie with my stuff as well, so yeah. GeForce Models, definitely going to have a little look. If you want to be a guest on this show as well, then by all means, in exactly the same way that you'd let me know about people you want to kind of give shout outs to, if you want to get your stuff on for Community Spotlight in the future, you can either drop me a line in the live chat now or whenever in the future if you want to. You can put a comment on the video. I look at everything all the time, so I will be notified. Or you can just hit me up on Facebook if you want to, or Instagram. Cool, because we are on Instagram and we are on Facebook and here on YouTube, obviously. Like, follow, and subscribe if you like what we do, or maybe you don't like what we do, but you feel like you're being charitable anyway, and you can subscribe to us. That would really be helpful. Yeah, and I would love you for it. Brilliant, cool. Subscribing, one more time. Because I like the animation. I did it myself. Thank you very much. Cool. Yeah, just before I went away, Adrian did say that now that I'd like to see that. Because Luke said that someone has done an animated version of the Horus Heresy, The Last Church. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to go and Google it after the show because it sounds really cool. And then Adrian redacted a message. Are you saying bad things, Adrian? Are you saying things that you're ashamed of? Do you need to talk about it? Last Church. I'm going to go and have a little look. Sounds really cool. Now, what I was just doing during that break was I just decided to try out some different brushes. So this is my Army Painter brush. my lights are so bright you can't see it. It's my Wargamer Regiment brush. Come on, move the lights away. Here we go. Army Painter Wargamer Regiment. It's a really, really affordable, really, really good quality sable brush. I was a little bit dubious about putting some of my more expensive brushes into enamels because I don't know how it's going to react with things. So I've got my Raphael Kalinsky £20 brush here that I wasn't like ready to risk, but it works really well. So I've just done the machine gun port, just a little line around the outside. It was a little bit bulky. The body of the bristles was a little bit too much. So when I applied it on, I did kind of get it everywhere. And then I went and neatened it up with the brush that I was using to apply the enamel, but just put that with spirits in it and just cleaned it up a treat. You can see here the difference very clearly. It's such a subtle difference that it makes this detail, but this is why it's worth it. This is this mud guard here over where the front wheel would be, without any of this detailing here. But on this side over here, the rivets I've just done, all I've done is I put a bit of spirit over the top and just dot, 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 dot like that, and it's basically just ran around the outside of those. I can still neaten it up in a minute, but look at the difference that has made. Oh, shine the lights on my face. If I pull the lights away a little bit, just because it does bleach it out a little bit, you can see the difference. Now this is such a subtle difference, but it makes the world of difference, and it's not important to do, but if you've got the time and the patience to put into something like this, it's really, really worth it. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to basically put a little dollop around each rivet, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that kind of go along in an L shape here, and there's these little lines. I don't really know what they are. Maybe they're just kind of like, You know when like sheets of steel or metal have like grooves put in them to make them stronger? Perhaps it's something to do with that. I don't know. Maybe it's just the style. But I'm going to run a little line down there, neaten it up very, very quickly, and just that tiny little attention to detail. Look at the difference on how it stands out. Here's an undetailed mudguard, and here's a semi-detailed one. It makes so much difference. Have a go. Like, this is really worth it. If that's what you want. But I do need to get some more spirit on there because I was playing around with volumes. Okay, cool. So I went in quite heavy a minute ago with the white spirit. I'm being quite harsh with it. Obviously, the more that you put on the model, the more spirit you're going to go through, so do be aware of that. I'm also taking directly from the pot as well. I think I managed to probably mix it up quite well. Like I say, it's quite a large body of bristles. It's called a belly. So like trying to get into some areas can be a bit much. Also, a gentle touch disgorges a lot more of this. So, you know, be gentle. But all I'm doing is just touching. That's all it needs. And then I can neaten it up in a minute. Let's do a couple of these rivets. I hope you can see this well because, like I say, my lights are bleaching it out. I do actually need my studio lights to be at this level so that I get the most out of the painting thing as well. So it's a bit of a shame that they do bleach it out. Budget studio, sorry. Let us know how you're getting on with your painting as well. You guys have all got your projects, all of them. Some of you, I said that you're not doing it. But yeah, let us know how you're getting on. How's that computer case coming along, Keslin? Yeah, how are the Sisters of Battle coming along? Have you started people painting it, Luke? How is the... I forgot what Adrian said he was painting. Oh no, I'm looking through the list to find out. I can't remember, I'm so sorry. You said you were doing something earlier on. I can't remember what it is. I'm so sorry. I'm such a bad host. There we are. Let me just get the right angle on that. That is just basically putting enamel down without any pigment, because I think while it's been sat there, it was just cutting to the bottom, so it just needs a bit of a shake. Do be careful. Don't do what you see the memes on Facebook with all the painting groups. Don't spill this like you would your Agrax Earthshade or whatever color you've got, because this ain't coming out. This is going to ruin. Like Kyle did a little while ago with his gold paint. Like yeah, and that, don't get enamel on stuff you don't want enamel on. And that might be an obvious thing to say. Just don't do it. Be careful. That is far too much. I have too much in my brush. I'm going to try and... yeah. See, this is what having a large belly of bristles will do. I'm glad things go wrong sometimes, because it's really important to highlight how, you know, how things can go wrong. I've got a bit of spirit in this brush here. Put a bit more in it. And I'm going to try and make that big blob there run down a little bit. I don't think it's going to. No, it doesn't want to. So let's see if I can clean this up. This might be a really good demonstration of how easy this stuff is to clean. It might remove everything, but if I'm particularly clever, I might be able to force that with the spirit I'm using to clean it up by kind of getting the effect I was initially after anyway. That's quite a lot of pigment there. Oops. But enamels are so easy to work with. Clean up some other spots while I'm there. And now this one. Just makes it so much fun. It's probably a little stark on the contrast, so I'm wondering how I'm going to achieve that. I might let it dry in my brush, the spirit that is, let it dry in my brush, and I'll kind of feather it out with a drier application. It happens. It's fine. I got away with it. So yeah, having a loaded large belly brush, not necessarily beneficial. Be aware of that. I'm going to try and offload a lot of that colour from the bristles there just by touching it into the lid. If I bring that in, just by doing that, it has the same effect as putting it onto a model. So yeah, that has all been deposited in there now. Is there a way for me to test this? Probably not. Let's just carry on as we were. So I now want to put some spirit probably on this. This is an interesting feature. This is the headlight of the tank, but it has a slit, and that just basically stops it illuminating the whole world, because you don't want your spotlight to actually be a beacon to attract enemy fire, but sometimes you just need to see where you're going. So yeah, the slit was the way forwards. Still got loads of the pigment coming out on this brush, so maybe it's not the best brush to use. Maybe I've just been a bit of a wally by overloading it perhaps, but I can always neaten it up. Still, however, by doing the cleaning, you can see that it's brought a lot of attention to the detail there. Kind of going in like a bit of a sludge wash here. I keep bashing my lights as well. I must stop that. Got a nice point on this brush that if it's not overloaded, I can get in quite precise. Wonderful. Okay, went a bit splodgy at the end there, but I can neaten it up as already demonstrated. I'm also just gonna go around the inside here just to kind of identify that, I suppose, the join, if you like. My computer's just come up with a Dell update. That's a hard pass while I'm doing a show, sir. Thank you very much. We know how that goes. Previous episodes have shown us. Okay, so just a touch of this paint here, and can I get it just softly, gently? Nope, this big bristled brush here is proving to be trickier than when I was doing that bit during the break. Well, never mind. Yeah, just applying quite thick there, I suppose, and then I can just kind of go in, neaten it up. Gonna neaten it up with this little brush, as it works for me. I like it. This is what I mean by having clean spirit in here. You can see that the dirty pigment just kind of sits over one side, and I can move it around, and then I can have a clear liquid over here if I'm not too fussed. Maybe that's a really bad thing to do. I don't know. Too much spirit there. There we go. Okay, cool. Very nice. You can tell when I'm concentrating because I'm not talking. I talk all the time. I don't know what accent that was either. Wow, the sun's really got to me. I'm sorry if I've offended anybody with impromptu accents. It was a lovely day though. Down at the beach for the first time. Properly in the water for the first time on a new board. I bought that board at the end of 2019. virtually brand new from someone who had it but wanted to get rid of it because they had other things that they wanted to spend money on and they didn't have it. So yeah, they'd only used it 3 or 4 times, and I bought it, and then it became winter. I don't like being in the ocean in the winter, not because necessarily it's cold, just because the ocean is rough. It's not very fun, but also because it's cold. And then 2020 came along, and it was a pandemic. So I haven't used it at all. So today was a beautiful day, and I had some of the funnest waves I've ever ridden. And then I got hypothermic and dropped my board, which is a shame. And then a lovely man selling ice creams told me how to repair it, so clearly he has experience. Right, that is cleaning up nicely. Now what I am going to do is I'm just going to put a little, like a little dot on top of each rivet to clean the top of the rivet where the pigment has kind of rested there, but leaving the little line around the outside of it. And that just makes them look a little nicer. What I have got, I did find during the break, I did find my silicone brushes. They're called silicone brushes, but they're actually more like tools for sculpting. But they're just really soft, and I use them for a number of things. This one's got a little bit of super glue on it, but it just nothing sticks to silicone apart from silicone. So you can just let that super glue just coming away, and I'm not putting any force on that. It just bends off, so that they're really good for sculpting and moving pigments around and things. I'm going to use this little one here. I'm just going to put a bit of spirit on it, so I'm just going to dip it in the spirit. And I'm just going to see if by running it across the tops of certain details, just kind of cleans them up. Maybe I just wiped all that spirit off. Let's, come on. It does. Look at that. Taught myself something. Now it's obviously not going to be that good for everything. It's a very niche tool, I suppose. But it's quite. It's sturdy in the bristle, so I can really move it into some places. But it doesn't absorb the spirit, so it's just going to run free. So I've got to be very careful about where I put it. Beautiful. That's really good. I bought these for doing pigments, and I've not really used them for much else. A little bit of sculpting because I was playing with some sculpting putty a little while ago. That's done everything I wanted it to. How cool is that? Answers on a postcard. Excellent. Okay, so let's have a little look at the detail difference now that I've finished that one side. So, without, with, both together. It takes a long time to really kind of get that down, especially if you're a bit of a noob like I am, but it speaks for itself, right? It does, doesn't it? I'm just kind of neaten up a little bit with my fine brush just around some of those details because they are a little bit messy still. You can't really see what I'm doing there. Okay, let me move in. My tongue's hanging out the side of my mouth. Yeah, great. Wonderful. It's really good. Oh, I love it so much. That's why I love painting. So there's been a couple of comments that have gone in here. Michael Turner's joined us. Hi, Michael. I know you prefer Mike, but maybe you shouldn't write Michael. Woo, I made it. Today is a good day. I'm glad you could come along. Adrian said about redacting your message. Nothing rude, just autocorrect acting up. Yeah, apparently everyone's struggling with that tonight. I struggle saying things, so don't worry about typing things badly. Kesslin is still working on the undercoat. Big project. Yeah, I suppose if it's a base unit to your computer. Do they still call it base units? Is it the base? Like the center of operations kind of a base, or is it a base as in something that you standard use them as bases? I don't know, I'm just talking rubbish now. Luke Gallia has said, no people painting just yet. I might skip it for today and magazines and bases. Magazines and bases? Is that autocorrect again, or am I just not picking up on something? Magazine some bases. Magnetize some bases. That's what you're saying, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, cool. Wow, what a show this has turned out to be. That tea is cold. Not so delicious now. Right, cool. Well, crack on. So, other side. Now, I haven't got a light on this side, so it should be a little bit easier. Get a bit of spirit on the brush. Wonderful. And just... Okay, I'm going on quite heavy with it now. I don't know if I'm just being lazy or a bit ridiculous, but it seems to be working well for me. I don't know how I feel about using this brush too much for doing some of the bigger lines, but it was working really well for doing the rivets. So I'm just going to get right down in the corner in there. Some of the pigment is sitting in on the end of the brush. Maybe just get rid of a load of... By touching the brush down, kind of offload a little bit. Let's give this a go. So it can go to quite a fine point, and often you would work the point with the sides of your mouth, but you don't want to do it with paint, especially enamel. It's toxic. Don't put it in your mouth. So just literally with the point of the brush, touch the rivet and it runs around the outside. It will bubble a little bit on the top, which is why I was cleaning the tops of the rivets a minute ago. So I'm trying to not get it to do that, but it's difficult. This is fun. I don't know why I like doing this so much, but it's just so much visual spectacle for such a tiny little thing. Oh, I'm actually out of frame a little bit. Sorry. Let's move back in a bit here. That's a good one. That one went well. Cool. They look like quite stark dots there. I'm going to clean them up in a minute and it should hopefully be much better. Bit messy on those lines, but not to worry. Bit more paint on the brush. We get quite a stark colour now. Yeah, there we go. Let me get a bit more spirit on here. Okay. It's a bit messy. You can see it's like a bit jaggedy, but yeah, we can neaten it up. We can neaten it up. Okay, here we go. Cool. I'm getting a bit of a headache here. I think that's because I've been in the sun all day, but it might be because I'm really concentrating. Keep looking up at the view count. I got such a really good view count today. I really expected it to be no one. People wanted to watch it, they'd probably come back. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Made my day. Of course, don't forget to talk about us. You know, share word, spread the word amongst your friends. If you know someone that might be interested or definitely would be interested, absolutely. Pass on the details. Get them to tune in every Friday. Or Sunday if I'm off on a first aid course. Get on subscribe. come and join in the live chat. And of course, now it's getting very close to a time when we might actually be able to hang out with our friends, because lockdown restrictions are starting to ease. People are out and about. It's been really nice to see. So, what does that really mean about Easy 8? Where does that leave us? Because Easy 8 was set up, of course, during the first lockdown here in the UK, as a means to kind of bring people together when they couldn't. So does that mean that Easy 8 is kind of defunct? No, not at all. It just means that we change our purpose. We're still providing the same service. People still may not want to go out and hang out with people all the time, trying to be sensible, or maybe it's just not possible. Maybe it's easier. So I'm still going to be here every week with Kyle wherever possible, because it's not just about our local community anymore. We're global, man. We're global now, and people get a little bit out of this show, as far back as California, all the way to Sydney. That's lovely, isn't it? So the show brings people together, gets people connected, and like I said earlier on, it's not necessarily about that. It's about carving out a little bit of time from your busy week, from a hectic schedule, knowing this is what Kyle loves about it so much. It's about knowing that no matter what, you've got 2 hours at the end of the week that you can look forward to, and if it's the only time you can do your hobby, it's coming, and it's something to look forward to. So I'm going to keep Easy 8 going, even though the world is starting to return to normal. If there's anything that you would like Easy 8 to do, to change, to adapt, to help you in that, then let us know. In the same way that you contact us anything, you can contact me directly through Facebook, through the channel on that, or you can drop a comment in on the video here on YouTube. You can talk to everyone in the live chat, and there is no suggestion that is too silly. So if you've got something that you might be like, oh, they wouldn't do that for me, drop it in there. I'll let you know if we can do it or not, or if it is silly or not. What would you like us to do? Can we adapt? Can we change to meet your needs? I've had some people going like, can you not do it on a Friday? No, Friday unfortunately is the easiest, best day for us regularly. I know I'm doing it here today on a Sunday, but that was a one-off thing. It works well generally for most people, being at the end of a week, before the weekend kicks in. And it's also nice to be able to do it on a Friday for that reason. It is, like I was saying, something to look forward to at the end of a busy week. So yeah, we decided it was always going to be on a Friday, and Kyle's kind of built his life around that, and a few other people have as well. It certainly worked for me while I wasn't working, and I think it's going to work for me while I am working. But if there's something that I can do that you want Easy 8 to do, let me know. Some of these lines are a little bit more stubborn. They just take... I don't want to be too brutal and remove too much in one go, because I have to put it back in. And just gently feathering some of these colours down. What tends to happen is you kind of get like a bled out area where it kind of sort of fades off. And then you can come back a bit later on with a bit of bit of less spirit in your brush and just neaten up that area again, like I am doing now. Okay, I'm going to come back in now with my rubber brush. Where is it? There it is. I call it a rubber brush. It's actually a silicone chisel for sculpting, but semantics, man. Just nice and gently, just going to rub the tops of those details down. Ooh, a stubborn little rivet. Come on. I can get you. I've noticed there's a whole load of comments just gone in waiting for me to have a look. I just gotta get this rivet done. I can't leave it there. Oh, the relief. Wonder if you're not even able to see it properly, are you? Okay. Right, I know that's taken me so long, but it's really starting to look really, really good. This is one of those projects that you can just kind of come back to. You can just be like, okay, today I've only got 10 minutes, but that's enough for me to get a bit of spirit on here, put a line on, bit by bit. If you want to try and carve out a bit more time during the week, you can just do this. Put a bit of spirit on here, get a bit of pin wash, and then the brush, and then just drop it in. Knowing that even if you don't have time to clean it up, you can come back later because spirits, man. Nice. Down the inside there's actually quite a gap between this piece here, but just a little bit, just to kind of enhance it. Lovely. Pretty happy about that. I do have these little details here where like more tongue and groove sections. I'm not really keen on doing those. They're not very fun, so I'm just going to avoid them, and I'm going to move over to here and I'm going to do these toe hooks here, and then there are more more pieces of those. Fortunately I didn't join it very well at the front, there's a bit of a gap there, but yeah, we've got some more pieces of tongue and groove sections here. I could do those in a minute. I want to kind of do those toe hooks on the front. Let's have a little look at those comments that are going in. Oh, Luke Galley just says the joy of autocorrect and dyslexia. That's cool, man. Nothing to be ashamed of with dyslexia. And autocorrect is often worse anyway, so yeah, I get it, man. It's cool. Bit of a shake on that enamel. Loving it. Cool. Right, so get a bit more spirit in here. I am gonna do these toe hooks. So just slap quite haphazardly. I'm gonna do the inside of the wheelbase in there as well. Almost a bit of a sludge wash effect here. Just gonna kind of be quite heavy. Drop this on the toe hook. Don't really know where I want it to go, so I'm kind of relying on the cleaning process to kind of identify where it's going to sit. Definitely want it to go around the rivet there. It's very hard to see. Such a small detail. And then I suppose I'll just run a line down the insides. Bring my light in a bit closer. Interestingly, there are fireworks going off outside. Don't know why that is. Some little patterns just on the inside of this little base here. A couple of rivets and things, little features, little dents and creases and lines. Worth picking them out. It sits on the underside of the tank, but you never know when something like that might get picked up in a photograph perhaps. So it's always worth doing little hidden details. Also, peace of mind. It's a large model, it's an expensive model, spend a lot of time doing it up. Get those little bits that you don't think you're always going to see. Whatever. Right, a bit more spirit in this side over here. I'm going to get a bit more spirit on there. Ooh, that's all the spirit, let's not get that much on. Okay. Line up inside. On the toe hook. There we go. Lovely. Cool. That's the big bellied brush. Making work hard for me again. Making big kind of droplets. Let's get something from the inside of the pot. Don't think I've been so successful taking things from the lid today. I feel like I'm going for a bit of a sludge wash and then removing most of it, but if that works, it works. Okay, see how that goes. I will now do these boring bits on the front. It's important detail, I suppose, but I don't know, just not that fun painting them. They weren't on the turret anyway, maybe they'll be a bit better now. I mean by boring, but you know, that they're quite hard to achieve anything that looks amazing. But maybe that's because I'm not that good. Although Darren did send me a message midweek going, your panther's looking really cool, man. Thanks, Darren. Like, I hadn't forgotten that. That was really kind. Thank you very much. I do think I am progressing as a painter. That's been one of my big goals, one of my big journeys, is just to improve. And to make sure that I'm having fun by taking my time and, you know, getting a lot out of it. In the past, and when I was, you know, generally when I was younger, a young adult, even a kid, it was kind of the goal, the unspoken goal was just to kind of get it done. But you know, when you're rushing it, it's not really gonna, it's not gonna be cool. It's not gonna be good enough. I want it to be a masterpiece. How do we define what a masterpiece is? It's kind of your own interpretation, I suppose, isn't it? You know, it's my hobby. I enjoy it, but I am also enjoying the gentle improvement arc at the same time. It's nice to know. Let's get a little bit of this in there. There we go. Not so bad now. Maybe it's just the brush more than the actual technique or the style of painting with this enamel wash. Maybe it's a lot of it is to do with brush choice. I don't know. Be interested to see how other people get on with this if you're thinking about using it. Jeff Lacey's put, might be nice for you to go through a rule set one night, i.e. tankers, water tanker, gas stands. Yeah, a little while ago, just because I kind of ran out of stuff to do at the end of a show in the last 10 minutes, I did talk about O Water Tanker. I call it O Water Tanker. It's not called O Water Tanker, it's called Water Tanker. Probably we should get that right. Somebody else's product. It's brilliant. I didn't go over it in depth, but yeah, I can do actually. I was actually thinking about doing like more types of different, you know, shows on different evenings or whatever. But actually, in a working environment, it's probably not going to be so easy for me to do. Or you know, I did this as a not necessarily something I wanted to spend my life doing. It was a hobby to spend lockdown doing. So with all the best intentions, that might not actually happen soon. I feel like I'm rambling. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, but I could do more on it if you want to see certain games. Gaslands is brilliant. I'm actually hoping to do a little bit on Gaslands soon, like to do a car up in Gaslands. Yeah, but what I want to do before I kind of start getting Gasland stuff out is I want to finish something. I've got a lot of projects on the go. I don't want to pull out another project too early just yet. That being said, I've spent a lot of time doing this Panther recently, and I know there are some people that get a lot out of me doing this regularly on the show. There are some people that don't. So I think next week, though I'm still going to be doing this Panther in my time, whenever I've got a few minutes here and there, I'm going to go over to doing some more, you know, space aliens and stuff and bright colours, and just do something a bit different, break it up a little bit. But I do want to do some Gasland stuff, and I do want to do, you know, other things. There are other games and other models and things out there that that are gasping for a bit of attention. Sure, I want to get to them, just focus on getting some stuff done first. I hope you're with me on that. That's been one of our kind of credos from the beginning, is, you know, working through your backlog. That being said, I do actually have a lot of Gaslands cars as a part of that backlog, but focus on getting something done. However, if there's enough public outcry going, do something different, then yeah, sure, cool, I will. It's a show as much for you as it is for me. And oh, I nearly knocked over my enamel. Don't do it, Danny, don't. Good lord. Trying to manipulate such a big model around in the studio on quite a cluttered desk would be disastrous. I tip over my enamel. Oh my goodness. Of course, I'm thinking about it now. Actually, it won't be too much hassle to kind of plan a separate show just to talk about rule sets. So maybe I can, if you guys want me to, I'll do like a separate. All my shows will be live stream. I think that's kind of my thing. I think rather than doing a pre-record, but I'll set it up as another type of show, like my product reviews, and like the live stream for Online Painting Club here. I could do a separate one and just talk about some different games and talk about the rule sets and whatever. Water Tanker is just so much fun. You can play it in whatever scale you want as well. It's best played with the 15mm tanks. So if you want to get something from Zvezda, or the other manufacturer that I can't remember who it is, Flames of War, yeah, they're great. It's hilarious fun, and I can't wait to start playing it with some of my friends when we're allowed out and about to see each other. I play it here with my housemate, and occasionally we just pick some ridiculous tanks to go up against each other. And even though sometimes you know what the outcome's going to be, sometimes the outcomes are a little bit different, but also sometimes just the story, you know how it's going to end, but the story is enough. Paintbrush is rolling away. So a game I played recently, my opponent, my housemate, took several M3 Lees. They're quite early to mid-war tanks for the Americans. They pack quite a punch, but they are no real challenge for a King Tiger, which is what I took, supported by Panzer IV. And yeah, you expect a King Tiger to take several M3 Lees apart, and I did, but just the things that occurred throughout the game were just hilarious. you end up developing a little bit of a character for the crews, and who the stupid people are and who the sensible people are, who are the brave and brazen. It was hilarious. I got a bit of a lump there coming out in the paint. See if I can remove that in a minute when I'm cleaning up. These are quite untidy bits that I'm doing, and I do like it when the contrast softens down a little bit. It's a bit much. It needs a bit of cleaning. I'm not entirely happy with it, but yeah, I'll let it go for now. Done those bits, I've done those bits. Wonderful. I think now what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to move on to the top of the hull up here, because I think this is quite exciting with the hatches and stuff around it there. We are, of course, about 5 minutes out from the end of the show, so if there's anything that you want to talk about, you want to get messages out there, now's probably a really good time to bring it up. So yeah, what I want to know while I'm stretching my back out is what makes this hobby so important to you. Is it just something? Is it a little bit of freedom, or are you actually trying to be that, or are you at that, that proper artist that's trying to make a masterpiece, or is this just something fun? Is this a business for you? Is this just something that you're returning to as something from your childhood? Why is this a hobby an important factor? It's a question. Excuse me, I did a burp. It's a question I get asked a lot as someone who paints myself. People go, oh, you're into hobby painting. Why? Why is that a thing? And I find that the more I try to answer it, the harder it is. I just enjoy it. It was something that, for me, my dad, who is watching now, Jeff Lacey, hi Dad, has done as a business, making terrain models for people, for gamers. So it was something naturally for me that I grew up with, and I painted Airfix models and all sorts of stuff when I was a kid. Then I got into playing games like Warhammer 40,000. That was the big one for me. That is still a part of my life now. I love it. But obviously, with all of these games, it's all about making them and painting them. And with the models like this, I said it a couple of weeks ago, I've learned a lot about the history associated with the use of this particular vehicle, and that it's opened up to so much stuff. I was researching a little while ago about the different types of rims on wheels for tanks. But it was really interesting, and what interests you is going to be different for everybody, is this. But you end up kind of going down the rabbit hole, and I've learned so much about history just from doing one model. And I'm not just talking about the different types of rims on wheels, but I started learning about the different factories that were making all these tanks, and why there were so many different factories, and how they competed for in the world of Germany, that they were competing for the favor of Hitler because it was employment and it was money and it was important to them. That also Ferdinand Porsche was one of my favorite cars. is a Porsche. It's a Porsche 911, by the way. But yeah, he was in the race with Henschel to make the best Tiger tanks. Henschel won. I've noticed that Leslie Stebbing has just joined us in the live chat, saying sorry for being so late, but hi guys. Hi Leslie. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming along. The view count's going up. It's brilliant. Wonderful. Thanks for coming along, buddy. I love the tanks that you've been putting up on the Facebook page. Thanks for sharing them, man. They're looking really, really cool. I'm doing a really bad job of applying this pin wash here. If you want to see Leslie's tanks and all his other bits and pieces that he's been painting, got some wonderful photos on Facebook. Head on over and have a little look under the community tab. And if you want to share some of your stuff as well, please do. I'm doing a very bad job of this pin washing. I'm going to do a lot of cleaning up on this one. Don't know why it's going so badly. Whatevs. There's my watch going mental for the end of the show. I've had a lot of stick about, in jest about this hobby over the years. People calling me a nerd or a geek. But I'm proud. I'm proud of being a nerd. I'm proud of being a geek. And if you are in that same category, I'm sure you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But you should also be proud, because it is art, and art is very personal, and you should get out of it whatever you want to get out of it. Simon Pegg put it eloquently. I actually have a quote beside me here, and perhaps you've heard of it. But Simon Pegg, the famous actor we all know from Shaun of the Dead, Star Trek, you name it, he's been in it. Being a geek is all about being honest about what you enjoy and not being afraid to demonstrate that affection. It means never having to play it cool about how much you like something. It's basically a license to proudly emote on a somewhat childish level rather than behave like a supposed adult. Being a geek is extremely liberating. I think that is possibly one of the best quotes I've ever read. Because we all know that Simon Pegg is, of course, a self-professed geek, well into Star Trek and other things. And influences have come through in his own films, stories that he's written. I want to know why the hobby is so important to you. Is it important to you? It might not be important to you. It might just be something you do. That's fine. Leslie has said, no probs, dude. Love what you're doing. Oh, thanks. Plus, the history of employment through Nazi era is very interesting. Yeah, it really is. Nazis, bad. History, study of, good. Yeah. It gets quite dark when you're looking at it sometimes, and it was, and it should be, and it should affect people. I just like tanks, man. I just like them. I don't know why. They're just cool. I know what they're designed for. I've said it before. They're just fun to look at. They're fun to make. I would not have liked to have seen one in the purposes, for the purposes that were made. If that makes sense. I wouldn't have liked to have been someone standing in front of one when it's trying to shoot me. That'd have been crazy. And he says, "Geeks rule." Yeah, you're right. They do. Geeks rule. Nerds, however. Yes, I'm going to have to neaten that up quite a bit. That is some disastrous pin washing. It started off really well up here. I don't know what happened there. Sorry, tank. But it will clean up well. Okay, let's finish the show on a good note. I'll move the enamel over there, and I'm going to clean this up. I need a bit more spirit in there because I've used quite a bit of it there throughout the show. Just a drop. About half a milliliter, actually. Maybe less. I'm going to try throughout this week to maybe get most of the wheels done in the same fashion so that I can put them on. I know I said I'm going to go to do the Tyranids next week, but it'd be nice just as a little side part of that show to perhaps put the wheels on so that you can actually see it coming together, because it's been a long time, this model. It's quite exciting. Of course, if you don't want to see it, that's fine, just let me know. Leslie says, I'm a nerd too, so yes, okay. Yeah, man, be proud of what you do. Be proud of the hobbies that you're a part of. It's 21st century now. Geeks and nerds are cool now. Been a really chilled out evening this evening. Thanks for coming along, everybody. A nice chilled out Sunday evening. The weather's been glorious. People have been talking about being in the beer gardens. Oh, paradise. That's much better, isn't it? Yeah, now I'm neating up on the inside here. And all it's done is just kind of run into that little line. I think this is a part of the armor plate, the hull, that's built in separately, so all the hatches can be built in, so there's a separate armor piece on there. I don't know. I'm speculating at this point. And this is what I'm talking about, like the study of tanks, is that that'll probably stay in my head now, and later on when I've got a few minutes I might go and like try and find out why and Google it, or you know, try and find a video or something about how tanks were made, and it might come up. Though I'm not gonna win any prizes by learning it, I like learning stuff. Did you know that the Tiger doesn't have levers like every other tank? Has a steering wheel. It's quite funny. I wanted to have like a bit of a horn as well, so you can go when you're driving around a corner. Or perhaps that's the sound that your gun makes because it's bigger than everybody else's. Adrian and Jeff says, nerds are my thing, are my living. Love nerds and geeks. Yeah, of course, if you're making stuff for them, then of course they're paying your bills. Adrian says, be nice to nerds. You never know if you'll end up working for one day. Says Bill Gates. Absolutely. Yeah, right. And you can see how well that is cleaned up but it's still in that defined line. Look at it compared to the hatches. Makes such a difference. Can I get in here? Clean this little line up. Yeah, beautiful. It's going so well here that I don't really want to end the show right now, because I'm just getting a lot out of it. But work is tomorrow, and I love my job, and I don't want to be late. I don't want to be tired when I'm getting up, going to work. There we are. There's that little bit done on the top. It's getting a lot of character now. It's getting a lot of definition, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really nice seeing it come along. What do you guys think? Let us know. Of course, if you've been working on something tonight, I'd love to see what you've been doing. So please do consider heading on over to Facebook, finding the community tab, and taking some photographs of the stuff that you've been working on. Put it up there. I like it at the end of the show. Everyone bombards Facebook with all the pictures. I want that to be the thing. So yeah, if you've got the means and the inclination to take a picture of what you've been working on this evening, doesn't matter what it is, could be your computer case, Kesslin. Yeah, take a photo, stick it up on Facebook, let the world know, and open it up for a bit of criticism, a bit of feedback. And it's all well natured on there as well. I'm going to take a picture of this one in a minute so you can see it maybe in a bit of a better light perhaps than what I've been able to show you so far, and let me know what you think. Cool. It's been a great evening. It's been really, really chilled out. I hope you've got a lot out of this. Don't forget that you can of course find us over on Facebook and on Instagram in the same way. Don't know what I'm talking about. I'm losing the plot. So yeah, you can go over there. You can like, follow, and subscribe to everything that we do. Every little bit helps if you like what we've done. Been a bit lonely without Kyle tonight, but hopefully he'll be back next week. I'm certainly going to be back next week. That's going to be next Friday at 7 PM GMT. Yeah, that's it for now. Been a great Sunday evening. Stay safe. Keep painting. See you next time. Cheers for now.